Bodhicitta, benefiting others, is benefiting yourself.
You're welcome, Da. Today, we're going to talk about a very special piece of information. It explains the core of the Bodhisattva path, specifically, a view presented by the Master. What's the fastest way to grow? The answer turns out to be not just focusing on yourself, but putting the benefit of all sentient beings first. Let's discuss this. The main point of this explanation is to compare the Bodhisattva path with the Shravaka, hearer, and Pratika Buddha, solitary realizer, paths, with a special emphasis on the Bodhisattva path, as taught by the Master. Why is the aspiration to attain Buddhahood for the sake of helping sentient beings a shortcut to complete wisdom? You'll find that interacting with all kinds of people and helping them solve their problems is, in itself, a profound form of practice. When the Master explains this, he mentions that the key to a bodhisattva's rapid accumulation of merit and wisdom is their genuine aspiration to understand and help various sentient beings. It's about teaching according to individual needs, addressing each person's specific disposition, preferences, and afflictions in the right way. The Master also gives a very relatable example, like how you can't just scold someone who is a picky eater. You have to first understand why they're picky, what the negative consequences are, and then explain it in a way they can understand. He also gives an example about how eating too much fried food and drinking too many sugary drinks is bad for the body, especially the kidneys. This points out the practical harm of greed. The Master explains the underlying principle very clearly. The process of helping sentient beings is precisely the fastest way to improve yourself. How so? Because you have to consider that every sentient being's problems are different and varied. To help them, a bodhisattva must constantly learn, observe, and find solutions. This process in itself hones one's wisdom and perfects one's abilities. So, he says that in the process of liberating sentient beings, one benefits first. This is very different from the Shravakas and Pratika Buddhas. Their main goal is self-liberation. While they can attain the peace of nirvana, they lack the vast aspiration and motivation to endlessly study and accompany others for their benefit. They might give a quick pointer, but if you don't listen, they'll just return to their state of purity. They're less likely to follow and accompany you like a bodhisattva would. But hearing this, some people might think, won't that be exhausting? Won't it interfere with my own practice? Did the Master mention this in the recording? Yes, he did. The Master's view is that for a bodhisattva, this is not a burden at all. It's their passion or their standard operating procedure. And the process of helping sentient beings is the most core part of their practice. He emphasizes that a bodhisattva's aspiration is to continue for all future eons. The work of benefiting sentient beings has no end. Moreover, the purer this aspiration, the more it aligns with the merits of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. There's also a key word in the recording, the maturation of good roots. The Master uses the metaphor of a plant's roots, saying that they need to grow many, tiny root hairs. This metaphor is very vivid. Specifically, what state does this maturation refer to? This metaphor is really easy to understand. You can think of good roots as the foundation of your practice, or a kind of potential. When these roots are stable and grow lush, like they've grown many fine root hairs, that means they have matured. The Master's point is that at this stage, you are truly ready to bear and absorb deeper Dharma teachings and blessings, the so-called blessings of the Buddha. Just as a plant with stable roots can absorb water and nutrients, the teachings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are also given according to a person's condition. The Master says this is called teaching according to individual needs. For those with deep roots, the big roots, direct, or even seemingly strict guidance might be given, like the Buddha's guidance to Sariputra and Ananda, right? Or like pruning thicker branches, because they can handle it, and it leads to faster growth. But if the foundation is still shallow, with maybe only 2 root hairs, they need more care. The Master says it's like adding a protective shield. The talk also mentions prediction prophecies that a person will become a Buddha in the future. The Master says that bodhisattvas can also give predictions to sentient beings. Is this different from a Buddha's prediction? According to the Master's explanation, a bodhisattva's prediction is more like an observation. They observe that you have learned and stabilized in a certain area and won't make the same mistake again. For example, He mentions someone who has completely understood the harm of eating junk food and will no longer do it. This kind of prediction is more of an encouragement, but it's different from the absolutely precise prophecy of a Buddha. So the master also reminds us that Bodhisattva practitioners must be very, very careful when giving this kind of affirmation. Why be careful? Because if their observation isn't clear or their expression is inappropriate, it could accidentally become a great falsehood claiming to be enlightened when you're not. Right? That would instead harm their own merits. As for the Shravakas and Pratiko-Buddhas, because their focus of practice is different, the master mentions that they typically don't make such long-term commitments or predictions to sentient beings. The master also used a TV channel metaphor that I found very clever. He said that the merits of the Tokata, or the Dharma, are like various channel signals filling the entire space. When your own conditions, that is, the maturity of your good roots, are adjusted to the corresponding channel, you will naturally receive the Dharma sound that is most suitable for you. This is automatic. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas don't need to specifically transmit anything to you. This metaphor is very clear. Well, let's summarize. From this part of the master's explanation, we can probably sort out a few key points. The most central one is that you'll find the fastest way to grow is not by only taking care of yourself, but by wholeheartedly dedicating yourself to understanding and helping others. In this process, you train your own wisdom. How much guidance and strength we can receive largely depends on our own good roots. That is, whether our inner readiness is mature. This also brings up a question for our listeners to ponder. When you face different kinds of guidance, whether it's gentle or strict, or when you encounter challenges in life, observe your reaction. Are you resistant, accepting, or even grateful? This reaction might reflect the state of your roots at that moment and what aspects you can still improve on. Finally, let's leave you with a thought. The master says that a bodhisattva finds their greatest joy in benefiting sentient beings, and this is also the core of their practice. What kind of transformation would it bring to your life if you not only learned knowledge, but also learned to find that pure joy and the happiness of giving in the process of helping others understand and grow?